It's all about having the mental capacity to handle a day like that. And so many of us ignore that part. You think when you wake up and you're energetic, that's all you need. But is your brain right? Mentally, are you at ease, or are you worrying, or are you depressed? All of those things need to be checked. That's why we have with us this morning Mr. Moses Chung. He's the director of Elizabeth K. Counseling Clinic. He's here all the way from the West region of Cameroon. Bafusam, you're welcome, Moses.
Thank you, Patience. Thank you for having me.
How are you doing this morning?
Doing great.
We're happy to have you here. And that smile on your face says it all. You're mentally sane and fine.
That's correct.
Why is mental health such an issue that we have to look at as individuals?
Mental health, first of all, is the health issue. It becomes difficult to separate mental health from physical health. The body is a duality, the body and the mind. The two go together. When each is affected, the other is affected. Now, it becomes a call for concern, especially in periods like periods of emergency, like what is obtained in the north of this country, in the regions, and in the east region with the influx of refugees coming from the Central Republic. Mental health becomes a call of concern because as people are being displaced from their comfort zones, there's a fracture in their societal stability, individual and societal stability. People
Their
are moving
regular
away.
routine, how they used to live
Exactly,
life.
exactly. The moment it is distorted, people's mental apparatus is also distorted, provoking issues of mental health that are of call for concern.
What are some of these issues?
They have to do with separation of families, loss of loved ones, loss of property, stranger effect as you move into host communities and things like that. And those who are left behind, like the vulnerable, the old, who cannot be displaced. All these issues put together constitute a serious mental health issue.
And how do you deal with this mental health issue with people like that? How do you help them?
Well, we do identify them. Some of them who have been informed through community-based sensitizations, what most NGOs are doing, and also the government through hotline numbers. People are becoming more and more aware of the importance of mental health and psychosocial support. And there's a greater focus on community-based approach, where people are easily detected by the communities where they're coming from, and before experts are being introduced to give them expert attention.
Are they open to sharing their personal pain with these experts? Is this something that we are familiar with as Africans?
That's very true. We as Africans, we have so many undertones that determine whether we speak or we don't speak. We have culture, we have some traditional certain norms, we even have family dignity. Let me take the case of gender-based violence, especially the sexual-based violence, sexual abuse and things like that, which most often happen within the family, because the perpetrator is not always very far from us. It becomes very tricky to speak out their uncle this or did that, because it either brings down the family or the community, and then it puts down the dignity of the survivor. Yeah. That's very interesting. And so we do a lot of sensitization through our online platform, through our other partners. We really have good partners that we work with, and we try to let people to be able to speak out. But I can assure you, in crisis like what was obtained in Cameroon these days, women and the girl child are really in trouble, especially when it comes to abuses. Or when you move away from your comfort zone, you get to a different place, you're hosted by a family member, for example, and before you know it, you either are a sex tool, or you must survive, you're vulnerable, and you compelled to do things you didn't want to do.
Yeah,
really tricky.
You're talking about women and girls, and it goes too with displaced persons. If you're moved from your comfort zone and you get to a place where you have to adapt, it's tricky when you are abused to even talk about it, because you hardly know people there. You don't want to be the bad one.
Exactly.
So all of that works mentally. Sure. And it's really what we're talking about this morning is the importance of opening up to health workers like him. He's a psychologist. We as Africans and as Cameroonians need to be open to this, talking to experts who can help you deal with issues. Because when issues are not dealt with properly, it leads to problems like suicide in our society.
Exactly.
Let's talk about suicide, especially the fact that it's prevalent among young people today.
Yeah, suicide, first of all, is any death as a result of an attempt to injure yourself with the intention to die. But we have suicide and we also have suicide attempts. That the attempt is not an injury you incur because you intended to die. And so it becomes very, very, let me just share the statistic with you. With the World Bank, I think it's what, yeah. So that Cameroon is at 1.4% suicide rate. That's about 2,000 and something of people. And then the age adjustment rate is 19.4. So it falls within the adolescence space of human development, meaning that we have a certain group of people here who are at risk, called the adolescents, and they navigate between their childhood, at the end of childhood and the beginning of adulthood. It's a very tricky period in development that needs to be handled with great care. We'll be hearing of children committing suicide, maybe in the aftermath of a failure in an examination, maybe a break away from a boyfriend, a love relationship, and things like that. Mm-hmm. So children have been adolescents have been victims of suicide.
But what is to blame in all this?
We have so many factors that can be blamed. But let me come back to the main factor, which I call the key attention factor, is the family. Because when children are coming in from the childhood period, they're entering adolescence. The relationship between the child and the mother is supposed to still be very strong, because the child still depends much on the parents to discover the world more. Now, coming into the period of identification, self-identification, at the adolescence period, the child wants to know who he is, who am I, what am I up to, what am I doing, what am I supposed to become, what does society expect from me? I have this sexual orientation. Will society accept this? How would they perceive me and this activity?
Or even the age of social media, where these young ones have to present themselves in a particular way to be accepted or admired. That's extra pressure.
Exactly. So all this pressure demands a certain listening ear from parents who have most often ignored that. They take children who make certain moves for seeking attention. A child comes to you and is writing poems about death, or singing songs that are death-related, or posting things on social media that are death-related, maybe drugs, ropes, and things like that. And you just say the child is seeking for notice. No, the child is actually asking you to give a listening ear, which parents have often ignored. Yeah. It's very unfortunate, because what we always see, or what we often see, is just the manifestation of the suicide. But forget about that mighty iceberg down there.
The root of it all.
As rooted with lots of traumatic experiences that have just boiled like a volcano. The child now enters that shock, the shock from hopelessness, worriness, battery at home, insult from parents, insult from teachers.
And even peers. And peer pressure.
And peer pressure.
So the idea this morning is speak to your children. Pay attention to the signs and signals they're giving you, or the cries of help they are showing to you today as a parent. Now, Moses Chung, we can have this chat all day. Thank you so much for sharing your knowledge with us. And if you, a parent, want to have maybe a discussion with Mr. Moses Chung, all you need to do is reach out. Elizabeth K. Counseling Clinic on social media. Definitely you'll be able to get more information from him. Sure. Do stay with me.